Hello and welcome everybody to the Crypto Jungle. My name is Baloo, and here on the show I try to keep crypto very simple. This is a no hype channel, no fluff, no bull. We look at the charts, we look at the fundamentals, and we try and find solid projects. So if you're wanting to find a YouTuber that is honest, well, you've come to the right place. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I do this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the last few days we've been kind of experiencing a shakeout. We're gonna, anytime Bitcoin is having a pullback, we want to make sure that that we're finding support levels. So the support tentatively came in. It didn't come in at a spot that I was necessarily anticipating, but we got a strong reaction off of this level that we bounced off right around the 50K mark. So we're going to dive into a little bit with what's going on with that, and then we're going to pay a little bit more attention to the altcoins. So the altcoins are just really holding up. They're reacting quite well. We're getting a lot of bullish performance and resiliency in the altcoin space, and this is, tantalizingly positive for what we could see in the coming months. So without any further ado, let's just go ahead and dive right into the charts here. So here we are taking a look at Bitcoin on the daily. So we were in this localized downtrend. A lot of people, they were looking at this structure as a distribution structure. It doesn't necessarily have the same sort of volume characteristics that I like to see in a distribution, but nonetheless, it caused a lot of fear, and we've been in a localized downtrend for multiple days. So let's just dive into the intraday time frame. We're going to take a look at the 4-hour here, and we got our breakout. So as you can see right here, we got a breakout of this level right here. We were in this localized downtrend. So every time we had a touch on this level, it would have been an opportunity for you to kind of hedge or short or anything like that. And it would have been a good idea to do so. Now we have a break. So the break is actually falling on decent volume. So the breakout actually had good volume, but we're running out of the demand as we begin to curl over. So, I'm expecting a retest. Typically when you have a breakout, especially of a downward sloping line of resistance, you do come down for a bit of a retest. So this area right here is what I'm kind of looking at. You can see this touch point here, touch point here. So this area is kind of what I'm looking for in terms of a retest before we could commit to the upside. But that is the more bullish case. So if we get a more bearish scenario, we can come down and test the lows of this actual downsloping line of resistance before getting that turnaround. Moral of the story here is we are seeing a bullish flash, a bullish signal inside of the market. It's not necessarily a buy signal just yet, which is why my hedge is still intact. My short that I was just using to hedge against my BTC is still intact. And until we get that test, I'm going to look for that turnaround to close out that position and neutralize any bearishness in the structure of my portfolio. When we look at these kind of consolidations, like this consolidation right here, typically the area of support offers as resistance. So you can see we're at that area here. We were on support. We're now bearish testing on the resistance. So we will likely have to come back down and test before attempting to break that resistance again. We have made our first kind of higher low on the candle body closes, so we need to confirm another higher low to confirm the change of trend. That's all. We're pretty neutral right now. This could easily end up being a fake out at this point, but it's a positive sign to see that break. So it's not something where I'm saying that this correction is over. We do have some resistances that we need to break through. We have some supports that we need to test. So we're just going to monitor that situation as that continues. So let's go ahead and take a look at, I actually want to take a look at total 2. So total 2, let me just do a side by side. I was doing this the other day, but I want to kind of revisit it. So let me just get rid of that mark that I made. And let me go to my cursor. We have two different structures here. So here on the right, we have the total market cap. So you can see this area right here where we kind of found this was the buyer's climax. We tested it again, we broke out, and now we have tested it, holding it as support. So as far as the total market cap is concerned, it's a pretty bullish, place to be. We're not it's a nice area to test off of. That support / resistance flip, often when we're in the markup phase, that's mostly what I'm looking for, is those support / resistance flips to confirm that we are healthy, confirm that we are holding previous levels of support where buyers are going to step in, and we can continue to higher levels. Now, what we're seeing inside of total 2, which is all the cryptocurrencies excluding Bitcoin, is it's just leading. It's going up to a higher level. Let me kind of make this a little bit more comparative here. You know, if this line right here is this line on total. So we are extending higher and we are reacting less. This is really good. This is showing a lot of health. This is showing a lot of resilience inside of the altcoin sector, and we are seeing that in a lot of the assets. You know, a lot of the popular altcoins. Serum had a really good open on its last candle. We got a nice move inside of Serum. A lot of the other tokens as well, Solana, and you know, some of the top cryptos that we'll go and take a look at as well. A lot of resilience, a lot of ability to bounce back. So this is really good to see, and I'm excited. You know, we're not out of the woods yet, but I've maintained a bullish posture with the structure of my portfolio, because I'm quite confident that we're not at a top. Retail has not come in full force just yet, so we have a lot of fundamental characteristics, or a lot of fundamental factors that we can lean on that would imply that there is further upside. So let's go ahead and take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum, again, bouncing off of this ascending wedge. You know, this is a bearish pattern, the ascending wedge. When you get a bullish break of a bearish pattern, that's a very bullish thing. So there's a lot of, I'm really excited when I look at this chart, especially when I look at the Bitcoin comparative on it. We are leaving a bottoming pattern on the Bitcoin pair with this chart. I'm super bullish on Ethereum. You know, a lot of people think Ethereum is just not going to work, and in its current form, it is not a functioning system. I mean, it costs over $100 sometimes to process transactions. That's clearly not a platform that is going to work. That is clearly not something that is scalable. But we're in dial-up days. So, you know, as we move forward with these projects, we're going to see, you know, there's growing pains. We're in the growing pains with Ethereum. Ethereum is not dead. There's better there's projects that are cheaper currently, but most of the development inside of this ecosystem in terms of the decentralized exchanges and kind of offering those services that traditional finance has, they're mostly being built on Ethereum. So we haven't lost hope on Ethereum. With the launch of ETH 2.0, it's going to be very interesting to see what occurs. But yeah, we're breaking out of this bottoming pattern. This is kind of an inverse head and shoulders. I have a lot going on with this chart, and if you're new to Wyckoff, I don't expect you to kind of understand what's going on. I'm not going to really break it down too much on stream, but the long story short is it looks like we have a bottoming pattern inside of Ethereum when compared to Bitcoin. So I'm very bullish on this chart. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at Cardano. Cardano, oh man, the most bullish thing that I can see on Cardano is just the fact that we've broken above this all-time high. You know, we're in this kind of zone right here on the all-time high. Let's go to a higher time. Let's go to the weekly. Let's see what the weekly is telling us. Yeah, so we got this line down here on the candle close. Yeah, kind of this, you know, as long as we can kind of stay above this area on Cardano, I think I'm pretty bullish. This is also setting up on the Bitcoin pair as well. We're seeing a lot of the altcoins set up on the Bitcoin pair. This is a really good measure of health for moving forwards inside of this rally as altcoins really start to perform well. Up until this point, there's been winners and losers. We kind of call it, I got this from Chris Dunn. If you're not following Chris Dunn, go check out Chris Dunn. He's a fantastic analyst, but he calls it popcorn season, where one token's popping off, the other token's popping off, and you kind of have this popcorn season, and they're not all really rallying together. as we move forward in this cycle, I think we're going to get to that point where the altcoin season is non-discriminative, and a lot of these alts are going to run together. A lot of positivity inside of the space right now. You know, again, I don't want to sound overly bullish because there is possibility of more downside if we're unable to get beyond that resistance point currently on BTC. But the fundamentals are really strong. You know, there's a liquidity crisis happening on chain. You can see that the large whales, the large institutional investors, they're not only buying these dips, but they're removing that liquidity from the exchange and putting it onto cold storage, effectively locking up that supply, meaning there is less supply for the rest of the market to fight over. As more and more users come into this ecosystem with a high aspect of demand, they're going to mark that price up. So I'm pretty bullish. This cycle, in my opinion, is not yet over. So I'll take a look at a few other charts. If you want to just go ahead and put your requests into the chat once I get through the most popular cryptos to take a look at, we can take a look at some other ones. So we'll take a look at VeChain USD. This one needs a little bit of a cool off, in my opinion. You know, we had a huge parabolic run. We got a nice reaction. We're pretty much range bound as far as what I'm seeing here with VeChain, which is good. This is healthy. You know, we can't just go up all the time. The chart is looking good. I'm kind of kicking myself for selling my VeChain, but hey, c'est la vie. So, you know, life happens sometimes. We all make mistakes inside of this market, but what's nice about bull markets is they can be quite forgiving. So if we're taking a look at these kind of signals that we're getting here, we have our buyer's climax right here. Oop, not BO. Buyer's climax, and we have our automatic reaction kind of setting the width of the range. So anticipate to be range bound in this kind of area for a while, at least a few weeks. You know, the bull market is kind of heating up. One thing to look out for is if we do get a break above and it holds, and then we can kind of break above that, that could be an indication that the reaccumulation is going to be very, very short, but it's also kind of risky. So you're better off buying in the value zone at the lower end of the range. So if you are looking to take a position, you're pretty close to that kind of area where you would want to be gaining exposure inside of VeChain. Let's go ahead and take a look at XRP, and then we will open it up to the community. XRP, not my favorite project, full disclosure, but hey, you know, the market likes it, and that's really all that matters. You know, I can have my own opinions. All of our opinions are worth not much. I'm not going to say what our opinions are worth. The market likes XRP. I can't deny the fact that the market likes XRP. So when I'm looking at this chart, we have a nice break above the box. We're consolidating. We're probably going to get a reaction. I think we'll likely be range bound in this lower end of the of this accumulation, something like this. I think we're printing our automatic rally right now, so we'll kind of have to monitor this one. It's not a buy just yet. I mean, if you're holding, it's certainly not a sell. If you were accumulating 15 to 30 cents, you're laughing. You were accumulating alongside the whales, but yeah, it's just, it's in its backup phase. So the backup phase does take a few weeks to kind of get going. Sold my VeChain too effing early as a profit. Yeah, you know, same here. You know, I took a profit on VeChain, made a lot of money on VeChain. Actually, I was stacking it at about a penny, you know, sub penny actually. So definitely made a lot of money, but it's like way higher. I sold too soon. I sold it at 4x, you know, I sold it around 4 or 5 cents, something like that. Way too early when it's up at a quarter. All right, so yeah, we're just waiting to see what happens with XRP there. Okay, Gravy Chain, how's it going? Cheers. Acid Line, welcome in. Esoteric Chaos, I love that name, by the way. As always, guys. Who says that? As always, guys, bye-bye. Is that what Crypto says? As always, guys, bye-bye. I don't even know. Yeah, that doesn't really make sense. I don't think I've caught that. I watch the odd. I basically just see his thumbnails. I see his thumbnails and I'm just like, oh man, this is what retail clicks, I guess. Okay, have my outlook on OGN. They just partnered up with Google Cloud. Be careful with those really big partnership announcements. Obviously, often, especially in this stage of the market, they can be embellished. They might be doing something with Google. They might be working some sort of agreement with Google, but the extent of what they're doing could be embellished. So really dive into what they mean when they say they are partnered with Google. That would be kind of, because I've seen this in previous cycles. So, oh, this project's working with Microsoft. And it's like, well, yeah, they're building on Windows. You know, like that kind of stuff. Like they really embellish what's going on. So yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at OGN. Was it OGN? Yeah, OGN. It's got to be a longer chart than that. Origin protocol. All right, yeah, okay, so we've been charting this one. Bottoming pattern, markup event. We're gonna be looking for this SR flip. You know, it's all about the SR flips when you're in the markup phase. So let me see what I can see here. Yeah, we can take a look at Ray. Ray's pretty new, so I probably won't have a super favorable outlook as far as analysis, because analysis does need price history. I think Ray's pretty new. I'll take a look. But yeah, we're tentatively holding this support / resistance flip. This is a zone. It can very much so come inside the zone. We are on a localized downtrend. So if we go down to the intraday, we can take a look at what's going on with kind of the price structure here. Looks to be flattening out. You know, we're kind of downsloping here. Let me just grab my pen. You know, we're downsloping in this direction. It looks like we're flattening out a little bit. So we need to hold some support. Now, when you're landing on an area of support, that flat level of support, what you can do that can be kind of a way for you to confirm support is take a peek at the RSI and look for divergence. So you can see right here where we have a low and we have an equal low, and then if we look at the RSI, we have a low and then we have a higher low. So that's a little bit of a divergence. It's showing you that the relative strength is increasing as it hits a support level. Don't look at any indicator as a sole decision maker. You need to find confluence in many different areas. Support and resistance are your most powerful and most effective ways that you can determine strength. And you add that with, pepper in a little bit of RSI, pepper in some moving averages, pepper in some other sort of strategies that can help you confirm support and confirm resistance. Support and resistance are the #1 factors that you need to be taking into consideration inside of the market here. Price, volume, support, resistance. Those are your go-tos. All right, so let me just let's go ahead and take a look on SRM. Thanks to you. Yeah, you're very welcome. What do I reckon about Raven? I like it. Yeah, we can take a look at Raven. Bat, yeah, we can take it. Bat's been trending. What's going on, Shroomer? How's it going, my brother? All right, let's take a look at basic attention token. That's a big one. Project, fundamentally, in my opinion, is a little bit ahead of its time, but that's just my opinion. People aren't yet at the point where we are paying creators tokens for creating. Until that kind of economy exists, we're not quite there yet, but we are at a break above the all-time high. We kind of have this zone here, broke above the all-time high, kind of a double bottom formation. So on the macro, we're looking really good. We're looking really good on the macro. So as long as we can hold this area, look for any drawdown. We had a nice drawdown, watch for the turnaround. So you can scale into this. You can take a look at some moving averages. Actually, let me show you a moving average cluster that I like to employ from time to time. It is the 10, the 20, and the 147. So this can kind of help when you're in an area of support and you're wondering about entries. You can kind of use momentum indicators to help you. If you're struggling to really commit to support levels, just use some momentum crosses. So underneath the 147, that means you're above water. You're in a bullish trend as long as you're above that level. So I have it shaded here. And then anytime you have the yellow cross bullish over the pink, you can, that's a bullish cross. So it looks as though we're kind of curling. So wait for that cross. the price action will likely rally as a result of that cross, and then wait for the pullback back to the pink line. The price candles will come to the pink line, and that would statistically, you know, nothing works every single time. I want to preface that, like, no technical setup works every single time, but that's one that can kind of help you with entries and stuff like that. So basic tension looking good, sitting on a very, very juicy level of support, right above the all-time high, looking pretty good. Yeah, let's take a look at Raven. I'll turn off these EMAs. Like I said, the most important thing for me is the price and volume, support and resistance. Huge move in Raven, by the way. Our last kind of support range is down here, which we are not quite at yet. On the daily, we are sitting at the 21-week moving average. Sorry for those who are confused by that statement. I use the 147 EMA, which on the daily chart is the 21-week. And then it's kind of close to a 150, which is also a common period moving average to be using. So that's kind of the only moving average I use when determining a trend, and the trend is up. So it's not a great structure. Honestly, I would not be surprised to see us back down at these levels. You know, fight with this MA a few times before getting a turnaround. Yeah, it's not a super clear structure. You know, it's very non-committal. If we throw a trading range on it, let's just drag that across. You know, we are kind of sitting at the bottom. If you can get another test here, it would be a good entry, but don't think that we can't form a spring by coming down to these levels and getting bought back in. The market is bullish. This is not my favorite looking structure. It's not my favorite setup. I usually only take positions and stuff in setups that I really like. You know, you'll find them as you progress as an analyst, as you progress as a trader, you'll find those setups that you're just like, boom, that is perfect. This to me is a little messy. When it's messy, I wait. So just be prepared. Do you read charts before you buy an alt? Yes, I always read charts. I start with the charts, you know, and I do a little bit of fundamental analysis at this point in the market because there is a ton of garbage out there. Like all that safe moon, safe whatever, safe anything is just a bunch of horse crap. It's just people pulling on the leverage of tokenomics to prove it's like, oh, it's deflationary, you can only make money. No. Anything that's publicly traded can be traded down to zero. It can be traded up multiples and it can be traded down multiples. There is no safe nothing. Do you just buy and wait? I will buy and wait. I give my trades time to play out. Okay, yeah, Ray. Let's take a look at Ray. I'm a swing trader, you know. I play longer swings, and they take time to play out. Most new investors, here's the thing about trading. If you kind of classify yourself as a trader, you think you need to be trading all the time. The most successful traders that I know they can count how many trades they do per cycle on one or two hands. You know, the largest wins are not very frequent. And that's, you know, kind of confusing because we're looking at the charts all day. You know, we're analyzing this, we're analyzing that. We're trying to determine strength and resiliency. We're trying to look for the turnaround. But realistically, the actual trade itself, that point from which that period of time between you pressing buy and you pressing sell, for me, in my experience, especially in crypto, it's a very long duration of time, in excess of 6 months, usually more. Like my Bitcoin trade is well over a year now. And those are the trades you want. You want the long trades, long, long, long. That's why they call it long. Okay, so Radium, you know, we're range bound right now. There's not a ton of price action here. You know, there's not a lot to go off of. this is the trading range. We're up against resistance right now. When you're up against resistance, it's not a very good opportunity to buy. If we can break above the resistance and confirm the resistance as support, now we can entertain those ideas. But as it stands currently, I think we're going to be range bound in this one a little bit longer. So there's no reason to kind of freak out and jump into this one. Here's your value zone right down here. Right down here is your value zone. So anything below the mean of that trading range would be considered a buy. It's not a buy right now. You know, monitor this one. SPI got a lot of hype, got overhyped. You know, and the fact remains that people still use Amazon. And that's kind of an interesting topic that I'll touch on briefly. You know, there are certain applications of blockchain technology that make a lot of sense. There are certain company formats that make a lot of sense to be peer-to-peer and decentralized. A good example of that would be, you know, Uber or Lyft. You know, if I'm a driver, I can just put my information on the blockchain and a buyer can pay me tokens, and we can put it into a smart contract and we can make the exchange peer-to-peer. With a company like Amazon markets, man. They market the crap out of stuff. They are like the leaders in marketing. They own the e-commerce space right now. It's not to say that we can't kind of disrupt that, but you're dealing with one of the most powerful companies in the entire world. So to be able to get a market share of that when you're using a peer-to-peer technology that doesn't have a marketing team, doesn't have a company leader, it's going to be difficult. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I think it's pretty far off. I think it's far outside of today's reality. You know, if you're really long-term, you could do a gamble, but you know, do they have a DAO? Do they have a way to decentralize? Is there a decentralized treasury where they can pay a marketing department? I don't know. I don't know enough about the DAO on SPI. BTT, yeah. Chainlink is a fantastic project. Chainlink, you know, I like market leaders, I like market movers, I like market adoption and developer adoption. Chainlink has the most developers working with that Oracle. It's definitely the leader inside of the Oracle space. It's a good buy. Okay, let's pull up a few charts. I'm not going to chart SPI, sorry. We'll skip BTT. I haven't heard of UMX. Theta, I mean, Theta's pumped quite a bit. Theta's pumped quite a bit. I'll just take a real quick look at Theta. Pretty cool project. Theta's got an incredible team. You know, that's a nice thing to be looking at. It's bouncing off of a level of support. We just need to see that this support level holds. So you can see where the supply came in here. If we can hold this level of support, I think we're good. But this structure right here is a distribution. So we are likely in a distribution after decline. These take time to play out. This is a multi-month accumulation. Typically, we are entering a pretty bullish environment, so it might not take as long, but I'm not FOMOing into Theta. There's time to watch this develop. If you can get anything below this level at around 750, anything below 750, I think would be a good buy. But again, you want to wait for those confirmations. You want to wait for the turnaround on that one. So that's Theta. So low, it can only go up. Let's take a look at Anchor. Sure. Similar structure, actually. Very similar structure to Theta, except there's more downside. There's more downside exposure. As you can see where the supply initially came in, this is where the composite operator was dumping the supply, and then the over exuberance brought us to higher levels. I wouldn't be surprised to see this come down to about 8 cents, 9 cents, maybe 10 cents, something like that. A nice big psychological level. We're in a localized downtrend. Unless we can invalidate that downtrend, we're in a local downtrend. So let's just go down to the intraday. We are kind of breaking above it right now, but we're underneath the 147 EMA. I expect downside, honestly. You know, it's better to be on the side of caution with this one. Not a lot of people talking about anchor. This is a distributional pattern resulting in a downtrend. I would like to see us come back down to this level here. NEM. Pretty good downtrend here. You know, we need to form some support. It looks like we're falling below support right now. Ugly chart, ugly. Sorry for anybody holding at NEM, but that's no bueno. Doesn't look good. So that's basically our strongest support level. We want to confirm support here. So watch this zone. If you can see us begin to develop support here, I think that then you could think about an opportunity to buy. But as it stands right now, we're in a localized downtrend. So don't trade against the trend. We're in a downtrend. If you guys want to learn this method, I mean, I'm keeping it fairly simple, but what I do is I teach the Wyckoff method. So if you've ever wanted to learn this method, it's a way for you to track institutional interests in assets. You can basically look at the charts and see if the whales are participating. If that's something that interests you, then I encourage you to join VIP. We are going to make an announcement. This is the biggest kind of sale or I guess trial period that you can try with my program. I'm going to be giving you guys 1 month for free. The only catch to that is you do have to sign up under our referral links. So if you are interested, if you don't have an FTX account or a Binance account or a Bybit account, if you don't have some of those accounts, you can go ahead, go to thecryptojungle.com and you can sign up for a free month. So it's $30 a month after that. But if you don't like it, at least you get a month to try it out, which I think is pretty generous. So if that's something that you want to try out, then links down below. Yeah, let's move on from NEM. All right, you asked twice. I'll do BTT. BitShares, I don't know what it does. BitTorrent. Yeah, BitTorrent. Like, I don't know. BitTorrent? Isn't BitTorrent like just to rip people off though? So aren't we kind of entering the world where we can't rip people off and people's intellectual property can be shared peer-to-peer? Localized downtrend falling below support. Little bit of a demand tail here, so we're gonna want to, yeah, you know, it's in a downtrend. I don't trade stuff that's in a downtrend. So here's the kind of localized downtrend here. If you can get a break above this downtrend, if you want to be cheeky about it, you could do something like that. But until we can break this downtrend, there's no point in going to the bullish side on this asset. So proceed with caution on this one. It's in a downtrend. It's had a nice extension. How much money did people make on the last extension? Yeah, people made a 500, they 5x'd their money in the last move. So there's a lot of people willing to sell. You know, anytime people made a lot of money, they're willing to sell as well. Oh man, the chat is just blowing up. What's going on, Huzzah? I'm gonna have to figure out a new format. I need to figure out a new way to go through these coin requests because it's getting to the point where I can't get to everybody. So if I don't get to your token, my apologies. That's what happens when you kind of get a little bit more popular and people find you. I'll figure it out. But yeah, let's take a look at Luna. Lots of people talking about Luna in my group. Haven't been looking at the chart. You know, I have my positions in a lot of stuff. I've been really, you know, I don't like to overextend myself. You know, diversification is not always a good thing. You know, find solid projects with solid upside potential and stick to them. Here we are on Luna. We're in a downtrend. We kind of broke through. So if we're kind of looking at this from a bullish lens, you know, the support is just kind of made up. Like, I don't know where this support level came from. This is not much of a support level in my opinion. This is much more substantial as a support level with this one. You know, this was a resistance that we tested many times. So as far as Luna, you know, I wouldn't be surprised to see us down at these levels at around $8, something around that area. The bullish side of this, though, is we kind of have broken the localized downtrend. So, we've broken above. And do we come back down and test below? We do need to kind of test these areas to get market participation. So look for an area of test right down in there before a turnaround, something like that. So, relatively neutral. I'm not about to kind of jump into anything like that. I'm not interested in getting Luna personally. I've got so much exposure elsewhere. I'm actually looking to consolidate. It's so much easier to be fluid in this market if you have fewer positions to manipulate inside of this market. If you're overexposed, if you hold 30 altcoins, best of luck to you. I mean, I know even in my group, there's a lot of people that do have in excess of 30 coins. It's very hard to manage that. So basically all you're doing is you're submitting to the fact that you've bought something and you're not going to do anything with it. You're not going to put stop losses on it. You're not going to do anything with those coins as far as managing those trades. If you want to manage your trades, hedge, learn to take profits, learn to kind of, make adjustments with your portfolio. It's a lot easier to do that if you only have like 5 positions. So Luna, yeah, we're just going to have to see how this one pans out and see if we get a test. Unilend. Unilend. UFT. I'm very suspicious with that name. Because we're getting a lot of copycats. I don't know anything about this token whatsoever, so I can't really call it a copycat. But we already have lending protocols. And what is Unilend? Like, are they a lending? Is it Uniswap? Is it Uniswap lending? Because Uniswap would use Uni. Be careful out there. Be careful. This is not a trending coin. We're basically sideways. We're sideways with a gross, huge trading range. It's just a massive trading range that we are trading inside of sideways. Technically, this may print a higher low. If we can get a higher low, then we can kind of make those assumptions that we have a little bit of a trend. But look at the range here. Like, this is not something I'm willing to participate in. This is a 500% trading range. This is not something that I'm personally willing to participate in because there's too many unknowns. It's way too risky for me. So with something like this, if you really like the fundamentals, just put a small position that you don't care about losing. And yeah. You got to have different strategies for different size market cap coins. So yeah, not my favorite type of chart, but we are kind of sitting on support here. So you could take a little bit of a gamble at this area. You bought at the appropriate time if there ever was one to front run an idea. I don't like to front run ideas. I just like to trade on confirmation. Read charts and study the team. Yes. So the team can be really helpful for you to kind of understand a little bit of the fundamentals. What I like is tokenomics that make sense. And I like apps and products that are actually launched and functioning. Anything beyond that, like trying to participate in tokens that don't actually have a launched product, that's way too speculative for me. I'm not in the market of losing money. I like to buy stuff that goes up. And if that means that I'm buying at a higher price post launch of these products, that just means that I'm more comfortable with buying stuff that's actually functioning and usable. Otherwise, you just end up buying a bunch of empty promises, and that's not a good idea. Anybody can say anything on a website. Start building up the Raven when I can't mine Ethereum profitably anymore. Yep. There's a lot of miners that are going to be transitioning over to Raven, but hey, that just means a difficulty adjustment. And then Ethereum is going to be profitable. Ethereum will be able to be mined until ETH 2.0 is launched, and that's a few years away. Okay, Skizit. DM me in the server. So if you are in my Discord server, that's actually a very good point. So to any of the Americans out there, the 30-day trial requires 2 affiliate links. There's only one for American users. So if you are an American user, DM me and we'll get you sorted out and verified. But to all those others, then you know, help a brother out. My group is really focused on the new investor. Just to kind of let you know why I decided to do it this way. Everybody charges more for their groups. You know, they get to a point where they need to scale, and so they charge more for the group. I have gone about it this way so that I can try and just, you know, create additional revenue streams with not only having to charge you guys more. I'm not charging you any more. I'm actually charging you less. Effectively, you know, I'm giving you a free month, and you also get a discount on your trading fees. So it's really a win-win for everybody. But yeah, that's the most creative way that I could think of keeping my group affordable as I bring on some very significant talent. So yeah, we have some big announcements coming up in my group. Whoever sends super chats, to be honest, I don't even know if I'm set up with super chats. Do I have super chats? I'm looking at my OBS. Do I have super chats? I don't know what's going on with the super chats. I hope I'm not getting super chats that I'm ignoring. No, I'm not getting super chats, so that's good. Don't send me super chats, guys. It's fine. Senpai Tech, can I tell you why it isn't a support? Because the price was less sideways there. So when you have support, are you talking about Unilend? You need to confirm support on previous resistance. So until you have an area that confirms as resistance, you can't confirm it as support. And as you head into markup, if you're no longer testing the supports, you're heading into the parabolic phase. And there's nothing really from a technical standpoint that can show you a good entry when you're not testing those support levels. So you need to have those tests of a resistance level to be able to confirm support. So we'll use this chart as an example here. So, you know, oops. So test, test, test. This is a resistance line. Until we can break above it, we can't test it as a support. New price entry for Sol. I want a piece, but it just keeps on going up. And that's, you know, it's very risky. You know, I also want a piece of Sol, but I'm not getting, you know, I'm not going to touch Sol right now. There's too many people jumping in that don't know what they're doing. You'll get a piece of that action. Don't worry. You know, Sol is a very interesting project. I'm quite bullish on it fundamentally. I didn't wake up to the fact of what they were doing until I was, you know, a little bit too late. It could pump up to 50 or 60 bucks. Like, don't get me wrong. It can pump up to 50 or 60 bucks, but it's going to retrace back down. I want people to suffer. I need people to suffer inside of that coin before I can step in as a buyer. Everybody's making money in that coin. I don't feel comfortable entering with that kind of stuff happening. Let them suffer first. You should apply for Twitch affiliate. I actually was a Twitch affiliate. I requested that they remove me from the affiliate status because it prevented me from being able to stream to YouTube at the same time. I'm about engagement. I'm about getting out there. So if I can only stream to one platform, you know, I appreciate the sentiment where you want to sub to me, but yeah, it's just, I prefer to reach more people. Avalanche did the same. Yeah, Avalanche did the same, man. Avalanche was tricky. Now, when you do run into those situations, what you can do, which is going to become more applicable, is you can start comparing the Bitcoin pair. So this is kind of this is what I would like to see as far as Avalanche. I want to see Avalanche come down to here before I would be willing to step into it as a buyer. So something around $15 would be what I would be looking for as far as a healthy retracement back to an area of support. Now, if it doesn't make sense that that's going to happen, if we don't ever achieve that, where you can kind of gain clues on possible entries is with the Bitcoin pair. So let's go see what's going on with Avalanche on the Bitcoin pair to see if we can draw any sort of conclusion. So here we have you see what I mean? Like, look at this area of supply here. See how we rallied, flagged, and then rallied? So we do have a little bit of confluence in this area. This is an area of support. We're a lot closer to a support level that I would be happy to participate in on the Bitcoin pair. So Avalanche, you got to monitor it. You know, nobody's talking about Avalanche. Nobody's really using Avalanche. There are kind of other chains that are being more utilized in the space right now. I'm not saying that it's a bad project. I just think that, you know, everybody's kind of disappointed with the launch. So we need that hype to come back in. And as far as the technicals, you know, both charts, USD and Bitcoin, are kind of in a downtrend. So until we can really solidify an area of support, I'm not bullish. You know, the trend is your friend until it ends. So, you know, I still hold it. I've been holding for a while. It is what it is. Sometimes you end up holding bags. I'm confident that it will return to higher levels at some point in this cycle, but we don't have a clear turnaround just yet. Yeah, let's take a look at Rose. Man, there's so I feel like a freaking old timer now. I don't even know what any of these projects are anymore. Rose, back in my day, we had 2 coins and we were happy. All right, so here's the kind of the area of interest right here. Battling with support. We need to get above. What do we got on the RSI? We got confluence on the RSI. It looks a little, yeah. We need to see the volume come in currently. So yeah, we're gonna have to wait for that demand to come back in, hold that level of support, and then start to head back to the upside. So what I would be looking for to kind of confirm support is if we get a move up, we'll likely come back down and test this area of support, giving you kind of an inverse head and shoulders formation. Look for that. I'm speculating here, but we're in a localized downtrend. You know, high, low, lower high, lower low. We need to break that trend, and how that trend will break will be in the form of an inverse head and shoulders. Okay, how much time do I got? I got about 10 minutes before I gotta jump out of here and head into the virtual classroom. If you guys want to kind of up your trading, up your analysis, and get kind of coaching and mentorship, you know, the crypto market is like a jungle. If you go in the jungle without provisions, without preparation, without guidance, you are at the mercy of all the things that are hiding in the jungle waiting to kill you. So if you want guidance, if you want mentorship, if you want the ability to kind of bounce ideas off of successful